everyone, and welcome to week 3 of Writing 213 this summer. I've just finished reading and responding to your work for last week. Most of you I gave some response to in your source summaries and references, usually details about how to reference sources correctly. This is a learning process, and a lot of you are just getting started with APA style, so mistakes are common and you have to make them in order to get better. But make sure that you're reading the directions of the assignments really carefully, that you are spelling and grammar checking your work before you submit it, that you've looked back at the assignment and made sure that you have met all the criteria before you submit it. And I also wanted to encourage you not to use citation generators. Most of them are old and outdated. And so if you're using a citation generator, there's a good chance that your sources of information are not correct. So make sure that you're, not using a citation generator, that you're making those references by hand. And then also I want to encourage you to go to this APA Style website. It's apastyleorg. I've put a lot of handouts throughout the class from this page. But because references are changing so fast, I frequently have to go here. A lot of you, for example, were struggling with how to cite a website, and I gave you a link to this page, how to cite a web page on a website. I have to come to this frequently when I'm citing my own web pages. Most of you, when you cite a web page, it's something like number 4, which is a web page on a website with an organizational group author. I want you to notice here that we have the date up front. There's no ND. There is a date that you access the source. And then also there's a full URL, and after the URL you hit enter, and that makes the site clickable. So, and also blue, not on this web page, but in Google Docs, the URL then will become blue once it's clickable. So make sure that you are looking up different sources of information here when you're wondering how to cite them. I also frequently just go to the sample paper. I've put this in the classroom, but this really helps me sometimes when I'm looking for different details. You're doing, a student paper, but go ahead and look back at these student sample papers when you have questions about what a reference should look like. Because sometimes this isn't familiar to you, and just looking at some examples can really help. I frequently go to the end of this student sample paper where they have the references, and I'm asking myself, does mine look like this? Notably, each line begins flush left. All subsequent lines get indented one space to the right. So make sure that you're doing that before you submit your work. So this week in class, this is our course breakdown, and we are in week 3. So this week we have the small group workshop about the career research project, and also your project draft is due this week. So when we go here to the classroom, you'll see that I've provided some media here for you. There are 2 articles that might be relevant to your career research project. One of them is through the New York Times. You get 10 free articles a month, but if you've gone over that, you can also find the same article for free through the consortium library. So again, never pay for anything for class, because you can find it free through the library if the direct link doesn't work. And also one from Psychology Today. So make sure you read those pieces. And then before Wednesday, you should complete the small group workshop. This is similar to the large group workshop, but you're doing it in a smaller groups. You have more space to respond, to ask questions. Anytime that you have a question you want a response from me in, make sure that you just tag me in the response. So for example, here is the large group workshop this week. And say you have a question about this title page and you want to be sure that I respond. When you put your comment here, if you put an at and then you type my name, you can say, is this title page correct? And you can even assign it to me, and then I'll be sure. I'm not actually going to do this because I don't want this group to have this comment on here. But you can always assign questions to me and I'll be sure to come in and answer them. This is a time for you to work with your group to notice different features of this project, what's going well, what might benefit from revision, and what kinds of questions it brings up for you. So each of you are assigned a group, and you can find your group here at the bottom of the assignment. So we have these 4 folks are here in group 1, and they're going to work together in the first document. So then they'll go ahead and find group 1, and that's the paper that they're going to be working on together. The other thing you have going on this week is your project draft, and this will be due by Sunday. You will submit a draft of your paper to me. Now, I'm a professor of writing. I know that a draft means it might be really sloppy. I don't expect it to be polished, complete. You might have subheadings that don't have a whole lot going on, underneath them. You might have bullet points. You might have a part that looks more like an outline. Make notes to your readers that says, in this section, here's what I want to do. But I want to have a draft of your paper by Sunday. And if I approve that, then you can be in a peer review group the first half of next week. The second half of next week is when your paper will be due. So the first half of next week, I'll put you in a group and you'll do some peer review exercises with other people from class. But I will only put you in a group if you share a productive draft with me first. I hope you're all doing well. Good luck this week, and let me know if you have any questions. Take care, everyone.